Mike Fitz, Bad Marriage. Welcome to RockEyez, man.
Thank you, buddy.
No problem.
Glad glad to be here.
Now the band started in 2015, is that right?
Yeah, around there, 2015, 16-ish. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Now, were you original founding member of the band?
Yeah. It's funny. I kind of call it my baby because I had before that, obviously growing up, you're in a ton of different bands that break up for whatever reason, you know what I mean? But you know, I was starting to teach myself recording right before Bad Marriage was formed. So I bought a lot of recording gear, and I was teaching myself to learn, how to record guitar, vocals, just from scratch, kind of. I always had friends in recording studios, so I always liked it. I always hung around studios for hours and hours, where it would bore most people.
Right.
But long story short, I was started to write a lot of my own material, testing my vocals out, testing my recording skills out, trying to hone my craft. And then, with the intention of I'm going to start one more band, which ended up being Bad Marriage. But I said, I'm going to handpick everybody that I've known throughout the years in the music scene,
Right.
that I've known to be reliable, good people to travel with if we ever got the opportunity to tour. Obviously, talented musicians, people that are just all around good people and knows what it takes to get to the next level in rock and roll and to keep going, and to share the same dreams, with each other and be, just kind of have the same goals, be on the same page. And yeah, so it was around 2015 where I started handpicking everybody that I knew, and it came together like that. And I've been kind of recording us ever since. I mean, we did our latest EP with Brian Wheat of Tesla at the helm. That one's called Artificial Mind, which I don't know if we'll get into, but I still was the mastering engineer on that. So long story short, again, that's how it happened. So that's why I call it my baby. I kind of handpicked everybody, and here we are.
Cool, cool. So no one really auditioned. You just picked who you wanted?
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think there was any auditions. No.
Right. Cool, cool, cool. Now, also recently, you guys played Monsters of Rock cruise, and tell me a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, that was our second one. And it's funny that they both happened very last minute. The first one we played, the first cruise we played, and this last one. Um, uh, I think the first one, due to some sort of I don't know if it was on the tail end of COVID, but there was a band from Europe, I believe, that canceled last minute due
Right.
to some sort of issue getting in and out of the countries or whatever. So they called on Bad Marriage, and we were able to drop everything
Right.
last minute. Obviously, it's an opportunity of a lifetime, and yeah, we were lucky. It happened again to us last time. So it just came last minute. Another band canceled, and we happened to be touring with two bands that were on the cruise. So the way it worked out is the tour ended in Florida. It was we were touring with Glenn Hughes and Enough, and they were already on scheduled on the cruise. So we were right there. So we weren't even that far. So when we got the call, it was easy for us.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Now, you supported a lot of very popular bands. Were any of them bands like some of your favorite bands that you liked in your earlier years?
Oh man, yeah, of course. It it it, it's always an awesome experience, and you kind of a pinch yourself moment kind of thing when we ended up touring with Tesla for a while.
Right,
Probably 50 shows at least on over three different tours.
right,
And obviously you become friendly with them because you spend so much time with them, but there's always a part of each night when you're watching them, whether you're on the side of the stage or you're out at your merch booth and you're seeing all the people and go nuts for them, and you're kind of like, wow, this is amazing, because you remember, you know, that band, or I'm speaking of Tesla, but whoever it may be,
Right.
Glenn Hughes of Deep Purple. Everyone's got their own stories of when they first heard these bands. So yeah, I mean, for all of us, it's always pretty cool to be like, now we're sharing the stage with them. Yeah, it's really cool.
Cool, cool. Now the band's from Boston?
Yeah, obviously, aside from Tommy, who's our latest
Right.
addition, yeah, we're all from Massachusetts. Okay, so just like Aerosmith kind of says they're a Boston band, but they're all
Right.
from different towns.
Right.
But yeah, so we rehearsed in Boston for all of our lives, and Bad Marriage for the first 5 years was in Boston. That's how we practiced every week in Boston. So
Right.
yeah, it's just easy to say, we're a Boston band.
Cool, cool. How was it growing up in Massachusetts or Boston and stuff like that? How were you as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, it was rock and roll. I mean, there's some great bands that come out of Boston. Obviously, Aerosmith is a huge one for us. We love that just timeless rock and roll sound.
Right.
And that's what Aerosmith is. I mean, you got the Cars, which we love. I mean, there's a bunch of Boston bands. I mean, but yeah, so growing up around that, if you liked rock and roll, or heavy metal, and it was quite the scene when I was a kid. So it was easy to get drawn into that, and just start absorbing everything as a kid. And so it was fun, man. I got no complaints growing up in Massachusetts.
Cool, cool. Now you have two full-length releases and one EP, and you got a new one coming out now, and the lead single is Dangerous. Tell me a little bit about that track.
Yeah, that was the first single we put out.
Right.
It was more that we needed to put out something showcasing Tommy as our latest member.
Right.
We added Tommy Skio, and then we're like, we were trading some riffs, and he liked that one that was the basic foundation of the song Dangerous. So he played a lot of leads, wrote some solo stuff to it, sent it back to me. I loved it. The song kind of just came together like that.
Right.
And it went from there. Obviously, Johnny added his vocals on it, and we all dug the song. We ended up, we decided that, if we're going to come out with a new song, a new single featuring Tommy Skio, we got to make a video for it. We want to put
Right.
Tommy in the video. We want to show everyone as a cohesive unit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we did. That was the first single. I think it's a really cool song. And we got plenty more. Since then we're getting better, more cohesive. The longer he's in the band, the more we understand each other.
Right.
Musically and stuff. So it's going pretty well.
And how did he join the band?
Me and him, again, it's kind of we have a crazy story with the whole Tesla entity.
Right.
Because when Bad Marriage was touring with Tesla, obviously Tommy wasn't in the band. I mean, he hasn't been in Tesla since I'd say like 2000, 2005, 6,
Right.
7. So we were touring with Tesla in like 2016, 17, 8, that
Right.
sort of time frame. So he was the only member of the band, ex-member of the band. I didn't know. We haven't met with.
Right.
So when we were asked to be on that first Monsters of Rock cruise that I was mentioning a few minutes
Right.
ago, his band at the time was on the cruise as well. So I ended up just going up to him. He was hanging at the bar in the casino area on the cruise ship, and I just introduced myself. And he had heard of the band, or whatever. He ended up watching us. We exchanged contact info. We were talking about guitars and just small stuff, musicians talk about, guitar players talk about. We stayed in touch. We ended up, staying in touch after the cruise. He told me how much he really enjoyed our set on the cruise. And it just went from there. We developed a friendship. And then, I had posted a video of me playing the riff, which again became that song Dangerous.
Right.
and he had hit me up saying he really liked it. So I said, hey, you know, none of the lead guitars are written for this yet. If you want to take a shot at it or have some fun with it, and that's basically how it happened.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Now, let's go down the members of the band. Tell me about each member of the band and what they mean to you.
Well, like I said earlier, when I handpicked everybody, the only person I did not know was Todd. Okay, Todd's the bass player.
Right.
So starting with the drummer, Mike Delaney, he's been jamming with me on and off since 1997. So it's been a long time. He's kind of like my right-hand man. Like I feel very comfortable with him on stage. He kind of knows what I'm going to do before I'm going to do it, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's like that teammate that you've had forever, and you just know each other and you feel comfortable.
He's a wild man too.
Well, yeah, I mean, you'd never know it just hanging out with him off stage. Yeah, you put a pair of drumsticks in his hand and start playing. I start playing a loud guitar riff, and yeah, he gets into it, which I love that too.
Yeah.
But he's a solid drummer, and you know, it's just you know, we're kind of go hand in hand together.
Cool.
So we got Ian on rhythm guitar.
Right.
I've known him forever. Same kind of thing. I haven't played with him before Bad Marriage, but he was always in bands that whatever band I was in, we would play shows with whatever band Ian was in. You follow me?
Right.
So we became buddies, and you know, he's just a cool dude. And anyone who's around Ian knows that he's a good dude. He's always smiling. You know, he's very rarely in a bad mood. And those are the people that you want on your team. Again, so you know, he's withheld the test of time of rock and roll, and he's still doing it. That's what I mean. Like a lot of my friends that were cool and were in rock and roll bands when I was a kid are no longer doing it for whatever reason, you know, and maybe the number one reason it's very hard to do.
Right.
So that, you know, and then Johnny, our singer, I didn't know him, you know, I wasn't as close to him as I was our drummer and Ian, but we were definitely acquaintances, you know, same reasoning. He was in bands that we would play with. And I always loved his voice. I thought he had a really good rock and roll voice. I love, he has a raspiness to him when he wants to do that. And I always liked that. I thought that was a signature sound of him personally. So, you know, that's the guy that was still around, you know what I mean? He was around in the rock scene. And I got him when he wasn't really in a serious project. So, so that's that. And then Todd, like I said, was the wild card. He was the one we didn't have a bass player. I had a few friends of mine that played very good guitar that, you know, could grab a bass and get through a show. So the first bunch of Bad Marriage shows was with different bass players, and they were just friends of mine that were guitar players. So we did that until we landed Todd, which was cool. And I met him at a bar, a local bar that we both went to. That was a music related bar that you know, musicians often gathered there and jammed a little bit. And so that's basically in a nutshell how it happened. And you know, it's worked ever since. Obviously the Tommy Skio edition that I explained, he was the last piece of the puzzle that we recently filled.
Right. Oh. Tell me about the song that you take over lead vocals, the Pennyman. Tell me a little bit about that track.
Yeah, that's a fun one, because you know my little side hobby when I'm not down here in the studio or I'm not on the road, you know, when I'm not writing songs or we're not touring on the road, I like to go metal detecting, you know, and it's a fun little hobby where I go outside and I try to dig up colonial treasures, you know, old coins, old buckles that were on, you know, early settlers shoes and hats. It's just fun for me. You know, one day, you know, I talked to my buddy Steve, and he said, "Hey, what'd you find today?" You know, that's what he said. "What'd you dig up today?" And I said, "Oh, a couple old pennies." And I'd say that to him again and again. And one day he just said, "Wow, he said, wow, you like the Pennyman, huh?" And I just laughed it off. But it just stuck with me, you know. So that was kind of my nickname when I started recording videos of me doing my metal detecting. Right?
Uh-huh.
just tell everyone it's the Pennyman, and it just made me laugh. I thought it was fun. And then a couple riffs of mine came together, I had wrote the full arrangement of the song called, that I called the Pennyman. And then when I started writing lyrics to it, you know, I was kind of stuck. I wasn't happy with what I had, and I think me and my wife were talking about it, and it popped up, the Pennyman, and I said, wow, that's funny. That has a ring to it. It's pretty catchy, and I ended up, writing these lyrics about, I don't know, I guess it's a made up kind of serial killer guy who you don't want chasing you in the woods, and so I took what was a fun nickname of mine into kind of a dark story, but it's still fun. It's like a good horror movie, and it worked really well. And the whole lead vocal thing, I mean, it's Tommy, the one who's pushed me to do it, because when I send a lot of ideas of new songs out to the band, right? I'll sit down here, I'll write some stuff on guitar, I'll throw in a drum beat to it on my own, and a lot of the times I'll have some sort of vocal idea for it, some direction, some theme, and I'll just record me singing it just to give the band, and I'll email it out to all the guys. So, what that does is it just gives everyone an idea of where I'm going, what direction for it. So I started doing that, and I've been doing that for years, but Tommy was new to the process, right? Because he's the new band member. So he would go, he'd call me and go, dude, like, who is that singing on those demos you're sending me? I'm like, that's me, dude. He's like, man, I mean, you sound totally different than Johnny, which is good. He goes, but you need to showcase that a little more. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, dude, it's not really what I'm trying to do. I'm a guitar player. I love singing backup. And then, I'd send a couple more ideas, and he'd go, dude, I'm telling you, you two really need to kind of do an Alice in Chains thing. You gotta be singing more. You gotta be singing more. So he pushed me to do it. I started singing on that song, the Pennyman, and it just started coming together. And I said, you know what? Whether this song becomes a Bad Marriage song or not, I'm just going to keep this one for myself, of me singing on it, because I think it's fun, and it'll be my song that I sang on. I think it'll be fun. I had a conversation with the band, and we ended up, Johnny is singing on there. He's got some lower harmonies and stuff. But it just came together, and I said, hey, this is fun, and I'm not trying to be the lead singer. It's just, I think it's going to work. I think people are going to dig it, and I think people are digging it. So, I'll have a lot more of me on the newer songs too, because I think it's fun, and it's working. I think it's working. So,
you also have a limited edition Pennyman shirt, right?
yeah. So I knew this was going to be a little confusing. So for my own little metal detecting character, right? My own little hobby, I have one. Yeah. So I have, our guy who draws our Bad Marriage stuff. He draws our Bad Marriage artwork, all of our t-shirt designs, our album covers. He drew me as the Pennyman. I'm holding up a metal detector like I'm playing a guitar, and it's just really fun. So I did a small run of those, which are gone, right? I did 50 of those, I think, and those are gone. Those are sold, which was so funny. It was very cool. But we also have the artwork that my friend Carmine did for the lyric video. So that's more Bad Marriage related. It's Bad Marriage, the Pennyman, and it's the single artwork, of our single. And it's got a saying of the lyrics on the back, and no one can save you now. So there's two different Pennyman shirts, but the one that's more Bad Marriage related is related to the song.
Cool. Now, how can people get that?
Yeah, I mean, on our website, just badmarriagemusic.com. Yeah, we'll probably just do a short run of that too, probably 50 shirts. I think we're almost halfway gone with those two. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and we like to do that. We like to put out new merchandise with new single releases, and just to keep it going, and always have new stuff for our fans.
Cool. Tell us about the new release coming.
Well, like, so to mention, so Dangerous was the
Yeah.
first single we put out with
Right.
Tommy. The Pennyman features Tommy as well, obviously. He's in the band. He's going to be in all these songs. But, so that's our second single that
Right.
we've put out. And we hope to release, a full length. I'm not positive how many songs are going to be on it.
Right.
But I would think at least 10. Our first full length had 12 songs. Our second one with the tape heads called Bad Marriage 2, that had 10 songs. So I think at least 10 songs will be on our new one. We're hoping to release it by the end of the year. I mean, it's been long enough. We have the material. We have had some time off since the Glenn Hughes tour. So I've been hard at work here getting stuff done. Like I said, the Pennyman was just released. So we're going to give that a few weeks of promotion and stuff. And then it'll be on to the next song the next single.
Cool. Is everything done in-house?
Yeah. For this album, it is. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm doing all of the recording. It's the tracking process, and I'm doing all the mixing and the mastering. Yeah.
And I saw you about a month ago. I think you opened for Trickster
Um,
at Debonair.
no, wasn't it, Bumblefoot?
Yeah, that's trick. Yeah.
It was, it was
Yeah.
Art of Anarchy.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. That was a great show. That was a great show.
Yeah, it was a tiny, I like that place, but,
Yeah, me too.
we were on earlier, right? And so there's a lot of gear on the stage, so it was tiny, but we're used to that. We do have 6 members in the band now, so
Yeah.
we have 3 guitar players, so it gets crowded on the smaller stages, but we got it figured out.
Cool. Now you got a shows coming up with Vandenberg. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean that's in October. We got some other great shows that we can talk about before that, but yeah, the Vandenberg one is really cool. Obviously Adrian Vandenberg's rock and roll guitar legend,
Right.
from Whitesnake and his own band Vandenberg. So I met him briefly on the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Right.
Again, that cruise is just amazing. It's a great way as a musician or a fan to meet and network with people.
Right.
But yeah, he was really cool, and I'm actually pretty good friends with his manager. And he's a cool dude. And we talked briefly about anything that came into the States, that Bad Marriage would love to support any of those dates. And this is what landed in our territory and on our lap, and we jumped at it. So I think there's 10 or 11 shows, generally East Coast, in October. I don't have the dates in front of me, but they're all posted. They're on our website, Bad Marriage Music. Some killer places that we've played before, some we haven't been to. So we're excited to get back out on the road.
Cool. Are many of the shows you guys headlining?
No, Vandenberg it's Vandenberg's tour, and we're direct support. So it'll be us and Vandenberg. I'm not sure if there'll be any local bands that will be added to any of the dates, but
Right.
as of now, I haven't seen that. But as of now, it's just Bad Marriage and then Vandenberg.
Cool. What was
Yep.
the first concert that you ever attended?
I always have to mention 2, because my mom took me to one, and then my dad took me to another. I forget which was first, but I think no, it was my mom took me to my first concert, and it was the New Kids on the Block. Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember, I mean, I was
Yeah.
young.
Right.
But I was fascinated with it. I mean, I was a kid, loud show, and they're doing their coordinated dance moves and singing, and it was, I loved it as a kid. And then my dad took me on the back of his Harley Davidson to Van Halen, and that
Wow.
was probably my first real concert, like rock and roll concert.
Right.
But yeah, I just remember both of them, so I always mention them because they're kind of polar opposites.
Cool. What's your feeling about vinyl coming back?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, I'm not a vinyl collector. Like I think I've talked to you. Obviously,
Right.
I'm a t-shirt collector.
Yeah.
But Vinyl is just so cool. And even if you don't collect it and play it, even if you don't play it, it's just cool for the artwork.
Right.
It's having something to hold, and it's just fun to have something physical. I mean, I get the whole streaming world. I understand it, and it's got its pros and cons,
Right.
but CDs and cassettes and vinyl are just cool. I mean, obviously it's nostalgic, but it's a real thing. It's still out there. We sell a lot of vinyl. We have both of our full length albums on vinyl,
Oh,
and we do really well with it. It sells a lot on the road. And again, if you have good artwork, that goes a long way too, because vinyl is expensive to buy.
right.
30-40 bucks a pop.
Yeah.
You want to give the buyer, their money's worth. So we really go all out with our artwork and our inside of our gatefold, and so it's exciting. I'm glad that it's back, and we embrace it, and we always will want to have vinyl available for our fans.
Oh, well, was music your first love always to go into?
No, when I was younger, I loved sports. I'm tall now, but when I was a kid, I was really short. I was really fast. I like basketball. I like baseball. I tried a little of everything. And then, when I got into high school, the sports got a little political, I guess.
Right.
I don't know. Or maybe I just wasn't good enough. I don't know. But I was like kind of all done with it. And a lot of my friends were playing guitars, and I was just fascinated with it. And, I ended up getting one. My grandmother bought me one, and I would just go to my buddies' houses that played and bring my little guitar, and hope that when they were done, jamming, because I would just be fascinated. I would hope they would show me a little piece. I'd be, hey, how do you do that? And I would, kind of inch up to them close and see what they were doing with my guitar. And it just took off from there. I never really put it down. There were months and here and there where you fall in and out of it, just like any other hobby, but it stuck with me. And, once I really played with a real drummer, which was probably the same drummer now. Yeah, I think that was my first real drummer, and he's been with me ever since. I mean, I've been in other bands with different drummers, but I've always went back to him,
Right.
because we've had a connection. But yeah.
Cool. Now you collect vintage concert shirts and stuff like that. Tell me some of your favorite ones.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know. A couple years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago, I started really loving and appreciating old concert T-shirts for some reason. Again, just like vinyl though, and just like CD covers, just like cassette covers, I love the artwork, and so I love old tour shirts, and the colors, and just seeing what went into the designs, and I like wearing them too, not just collecting them. Favorite ones, I mean, I got so many that I got some cool Aussie ones that are really cool. A couple Iron Maiden ones. I love AC/DC. So I have a lot of their more rare ones. So yeah, I mean, there's a bunch. Judas Priest, they have some really cool art on T-shirts. Dio, there's a lot of cool Dio ones that I have. Even a more lesser known, those are all huge bands, but I got some speaking of Trickster, I got a couple Trickster ones that are really cool. I got a couple Dangerous Toys ones that are really cool. And what I mean by really cool, just big artwork, and it's
Right.
just awesome to look at. And it's cool because I had these shirts probably just before I started playing with these bands and knowing them. Now I know the guys in Trickster. We got I think 3 shows coming up with them. And I know the guys in Dangerous Toys are my friends. So it's pretty cool to come around like that.
Okay. What's your favorite thing that when you did the metal detecting stuff, what's your favorite part or piece that you ever dug up?
I mean, there's probably 2 coins, but one of them is it's called a Fugio cent, right? It's weird to say, but it's spelled Fugio, Fugio. And the cool story behind that coin, I found it probably a mile from my house in the woods. So it's really cool that it was that close to where I live. but they only made it in 1787, right? So just
Right.
to even think about that, you
Right.
know, that long ago, and but you know, it's just got a cool design. One side of it has 13 rings, and it was to you know, represent the 13 colonies. It
Right.
says in the middle of those rings, it says "We are one." It's just
Uh-huh.
super cool. I mean, it's been known, not proven, but pretty much known that Benjamin Franklin like designed the art on the coin.
Wow.
So again, it all comes down to the art, and it's a beautiful coin. And the funniest thing about it, on the other side of the coin, it says "Mind your business." It's just,
Oh,
so you know, when you think of how cool that
yeah.
is, and
Yeah.
it to be written in 1787 on a coin, and the best part of that coin was it was the first coin that the United States used as a universal coin.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, before that, like the colonies were kind of using their own. They were making their own.
Right.
You know, they would use a Connecticut copper, they would call it, or a New York copper, or a Massachusetts copper coin.
Right.
This is when they were like, no, we're going to use one, and that was the first one, and they only used that design for a year. So I to dig one of those up in the wild is it's amazing,
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
You got any of your stuff all displayed and stuff in a case and stuff, or?
I mean, I do. I just kind of have it all in one little you know, it's a case with a cover that comes off, and you know, I can just look at it and whatever. You know, but if I want to show it, I kind of take pictures of stuff and post it online and stuff.
Cool. Cool. So,
Yeah.
what's the future plans for Bad Marriage?
Well, immediate future, what I wanted to mention is we got starting in August, we're going down to Myrtle Beach. We're playing a club there with Trickster.
Uh-huh.
I think it's called the Brick House. It's in Surfside Beach, so it's near Myrtle Beach. Um, and then we're doing a show in Atlanta, Georgia. Um, I think it's in Buford, with a band called Kick and Valentina, that kick-ass band as well. We haven't met those guys or played with them yet, but I think we'll go good together.
Right.
And and then we drive to the Mountain, which is in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is it's the same people that run the Monsters of Rock cruise. It was called the Monsters on the Mountain,
Right.
and I think this is the third one. We played the last one they had. We were on that too.
Right.
So we're playing that one this year too, which is going to be amazing. 3-day festival, amazing bands. I mean, there's a whole boatload of awesome bands on it. You know, Joan Jett, Tesla. There's just so many. So yeah, the list goes on, and so we're excited to do that. So those three things we got coming up. We got other ones too. We're playing a festival in Lake George, New York. The Trickster's on that one as well. I think Ted Poley's on that one. You know, that'll be fun. All these dates are on our website. I'm not in front of them, you know. What else do we got? So yeah, I mean, those, I think we're doing, let's see. Oh, and then we obviously the October tour with Vandenberg. So, and then you know, the dates will keep coming. So, post October, to answer your question, we got to get a record out, which we're excited about. I mean, the songs are almost done, so it's there. The material is there. And then we got to stay on the road. We got to stay on the road and keep making new fans.
Cool. How much different is it from playing a festival to a smaller club like Debonair?
Well,
Right.
in a lot of ways it's different. You know, obviously the stages are usually, festivals are outside, right? The
Right.
Debonair that you're talking about is a club that would be
Right.
considered a small club.
Right.
Which I grew up playing small clubs, and we still play small clubs. I mean, I love that atmosphere.
Right.
That's like a second nature to me. Festivals are just a bigger operation. You know, the sound is outside. You know, it's just different. It's a different feeling, hearing your guitars, hearing the music outside, and you got to get used to it. But you know, they're fun too. There's usually more people at a festival. It's a different, I guess, sensation, you know, being outside on stage and looking out to a lot of people, than a tightly packed club. They're both really cool.
Cool. What's the feeling like when people come up and ask for an autograph?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, just meeting new fans, no matter what. fans that are buying stuff, that want to buy a t-shirt or want to take a picture with you or want your guitar pick or, just want to conversate with you and just about normal stuff. It's cool, man. It never gets old. So yeah, I mean, signing stuff, we're always happy to do any of that. We're definitely a band that prides ourselves on being around. Obviously we need time, before and after show to rest or catch our breath or change or whatever. But for the most part, man, we're around and we love meeting people, and that's the way you got to do it these days. You got to be out there.
Cool. Well, Mike, it's great talking to you and stuff like that. Congratulations. Great show when I got to see you. And would you like to say anything to the fans out there?
Yeah, I mean, I always say, it's the cliche thing, if it wasn't for you, but that's what keeps us going. It's like every time we get a new fan, it makes it kind of reiterates that we're doing something cool and making some music that people can at least attach themselves to. The response for our latest single, the Pennyman, I was nervous about it because it's a different sound for Bad Marriage, and it doesn't mean that the sound of the old Bad Marriage is going anywhere, but now we have a new sound to work in as well, and you got to keep doing that. You got to keep creating and writing new stuff and challenging yourself a little bit with new stuff. And so yeah, I'm happy that people are embracing that one. And I think they're really going to dig the new stuff coming out too. So last plug, our website again, badmarriagemusic.com. We got a lot of merch on there that you can buy to help support the band. And, all of our tour dates are on there too.
Cool. Congratulations. Thanks for the chat.
You're welcome, man. I appreciate it.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, buddy. See ya.